Live from Bauhaus Studios in beautiful downtown Port Credit, it's the Tom and Rick Show for Wednesday, September the 23rd. Joining us on the show tonight are restaurant impresario Brian Meikle for our segment Eating Port Credit, frontman and lead singer for Wild T and the Spirit and former guitarist for David Bowie, Tony Wild T Springer, the president of Argo Development Corporation and Lakeview Community Partners, Fabio Mizzocco. Also tonight, we've got Cooking with Carson, Riffing with Rickford, and our guests for Undercover of the Night are Victoria Ye and David Hines. And now your hosts, Tom Barlow and Rickford Van Dyke.
Good afternoon and good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this week's edition of the Tom and Rick Show. Rick, tell us about your week.
Man, I did some live gigs with full band this weekend. I did 2 shows at the Rock Pile.
Yes.
And it only had 50 people, so it was great. Everybody was social distanced, behaved themselves and sat down. When you're doing a metal show, people are sitting down. Pretty strange, but... And then Niagara Falls on Sunday night was a bigger rig and more people, 100 people outside.
Right.
And it was really well put on. And, everybody was being safe and respectful of anybody,
I have seen, in my experience with the live shows lately, both sides of that coin. Folks,
Yes.
If you love live music, do not speak on the singer's mic.
No.
Because that's always a no-no. In a global pandemic, it's a particular no-no.
Yeah.
And if you love live music, please respect the rules or they're going to take it away from us.
They'll just take it away.
And you know what? They will be right for doing it. So let's keep everything clean and let's not have any more issues when it comes to bad behavior at rock shows. Or we'll lose our rock shows.
We'll lose all our shows. We'll lose any kind of shows that I'm going to announce soon right now. They'll be gone. So please follow the rules and tell your friends to do it too.
Absolutely. All right, what's happening in the world?
At the Shore is Mr. Thomas Barlow at 6:30 on Thursday. And Killing Time is on Friday at the Shore as well. And Barlow comes back because they got to have a 2 Barlow week. It's awesome. On Saturday, and that's also at 6:30. Spice, we love Spice.
Love Spice.
Is Kurt on Saturday, and that's a 3:30 show. And then Gracie, excellent musician as well.
One of the best.
3:30. Now, Timothy's is on Brown's Line. And
in Etobicoke.
In Etobicoke.
It's not quite Port Credit, but we love them anyway.
They have live music, so we're going to talk about them, okay? I'm there on Thursday with my trio. It's called Chris Van Reed. It's Chris Cadell, Jimmy Reed, and myself. Friday, that's 7 to 10, by the way. And Friday, it's Phil and John.
Legendary.
Legends.
Yep.
And they're there at Timothy's on Friday, 8 to 12. Marshall Dane, who was on the show last week.
Friend of the show.
He's going to be there on Saturday at 8 to 12. Sunday, Wendy Laurier Trio from 6 to 9. So we got a ton of live music, and don't screw it up by touching people and stuff.
Yes, and now, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very happy to have our next guest with him. We go back in this business 30 years, maybe?
Close.
I think almost 30 years. He is a renowned restaurateur and visionary, and he's the founder of the Fox and Fiddle chain, co-founder of the Fox and Fiddle chain. This man, in many ways, changed the way we do live music and the pub scene in Ontario. So, welcome, Brian Meikle. And Brian has the head chef from his restaurant, Josh.
Yes.
Welcome, Josh. How are you? And this is a segment called Eating Port Credit, where we highlight what the dining options are in our little town, and they are many and they are amazing. So, Brian, if we could begin with just backtracking a little bit, let's go back to March. The restaurant's doing great, and suddenly they make the announcement that we're in a pandemic and we're basically shutting everything down.
Yeah.
How did you guys get through that initial period?
It was strange and almost funny at the same time when we actually had to close down March the 16th. So March 17th, traditionally St. Patty's Day, Port Credit is going crazy.
Right.
And suddenly on the 15th or 16th, they say, guys, you got to shut down. And I really feel bad. Like the guys from the Brogue, great guys, great concept. That is their New Year's Eve.
Sure it is.
They do so well, like Fulch's does. And unfortunately, bang, we got to close down. And it's been a game changer, to be fair. For 4 months, we were shut down. The only thing we could really do is takeout. But for us, we're not really a takeout kind of a spot, unfortunately. Pizza guys do well. that kind of stuff they do well.
Yeah.
But for us, we got supported by our locals. Our surrounding community helped out for sure. But doing takeout doesn't really pay the bills.
Sure.
It kept the name out there, and we tried our best at doing it. But it really wasn't, for 3 months, wasn't a big financial thing for us.
Right.
Until we were able to open up with the patio. That's when round 2 came around, and we did well with that.
You guys have a great patio.
Thank you.
Yes.
And it's nice and sheltered in sort of a little enclave there. So it's
Yeah, and again, with Port Credit really excels in the summertime.
Yeah.
And we got blessed that the summer was fantastic. The summer,
yeah.
it didn't rain a lot. It was nice. And again, we did well in the summertime.
Right.
Not as well as if we were opened.
Right, of course.
Yeah, because
obviously.
you're an indoor dining, like you look at and it looks very nice in there. It's more of an indoor thing. You really had to switch on the 17th and go, okay, what are we going to do? So
Yeah, and again, for our concept, we're very much a corporate party place where, celebration. You know, if you got groups of 20, groups of 40, groups of 30, and really that's what we're all about.
Right.
Come for dinner, stay for the party. Midweeks, we have great live entertainment with you guys. But on weekends, it's more of a DJ-style dancing environment.
Right.
But now with this, it's a game changer where we have to almost say, you know what? We can't do that anymore. We got to focus on the tables of 2s, tables of 4s,
Right.
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
And that brings us to where we are now. So you have Josh, a new chef. What are you excited about bringing to Port Credit? What's your strength? And you were saying that you have some new menus coming up. Tell us about eating at your restaurant.
So pretty much, I'm focused more on like simplicity, but high quality ingredients.
Beautiful.
Right? And when you have high quality ingredients, you just need to cook them simply. You don't need to add 1,000 things to make it taste good. I'll be changing the menu hopefully soon, and I'm gonna be bringing in like a couple higher end apps and stuff.
Right.
Like one of the dishes, an octopus dish with a white bean puree, sweet pea crema, and fingerling potato chips.
We should have said, please bring samples. That sounds amazing.
Yeah, so just gonna focus more on fresher, like brighter flavors.
Beautiful.
Nice.
And what is sort of the go-to now? What do people, when they show up, they say, oh, when I come here, I always have what's sort of the one that you guys excel
Again, with the old menu that which we're sort of phasing out and phasing into the new menu, which is probably about 3 weeks away. Again, right now it's pretty versatile. Our burgers do very well.
Yeah.
Our ribs are spectacular. We have some good salads. But again, in the marketplace, vegetarians becoming a big thing now again.
Right.
Vegans really big now.
Yep.
And again, we're changing our menus to adapt to that. Gluten free. That's huge right now. All these things that are that really wasn't in the past, in the last 2 years, are changing.
Right. And what's you were saying there's a new vegan dish.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a Mexican fried rice. It's instead of rice, we use quinoa.
Right.
And it's gonna have black beans, corn, avocados, cilantro. It's just like a really flavorful dish. It's like very bright with the lime. Like, I like it, and I'm not vegan. Like I really like it.
I'm gonna make one right now.
Yeah, like I'm gonna make it.
Actually,
Sounds good.
I tried it for the first time 3 days ago.
Yeah.
Spectacular.
And is there a date for the launch of the new menu? Is it an event? Is it something that we could come to? How does that work?
Yeah, right now we're still finalizing the menu right now.
Yeah.
Chef is still changing things around a little bit, so probably we're still about a month away. But yeah.
And Josh, tell us about how you came into the business and how you ended up meeting Brian.
So I've been a customer at Port House for probably like 7 years, from when it was 10. And then, so COVID hit. Everyone got laid off in the industry. And luckily I met Brian and Paul, the owners of Port House, just through being a customer, and had an interview and shot it off from there.
Right on.
Wow. And one last question, Brian, and this goes a little bit to your history. The Fox and Fiddle chain is probably one of the best branded chains in the city.
Yeah.
You dream that up, and then there it is.
Yeah.
What would be your advice to restaurateurs, young people? I'm going to start a spot. I have a vision of, maybe they want to do what you did and create sort of this vision of dining.
Yeah, I think again with the Fox and Fiddle, I because great partnerships with Rick Hartuna and Deb.
Sure, yeah.
Great people. But I think anything you have to have the passion. You have to, whatever you do, make sure you love it. Because especially in the restaurant business, you're doing 15-hour days, 7 days a week. You can't call in sick. Just like the entertainment field, it's the same
Right.
thing. And nowadays, again, with the hospitality industry, it's a mixture of entertainment, food, liquor, and again, it's changing things up and being more modernized. So, like for us, putting more gluten-free items on the menu, putting more vegetarian, the vegan option. So again, changing things up. But again, it's about having. And it's not just about us, it's about having great people. Having great servers, your bartenders, make sure they're on the ball, your management team's there, they're on the front door, talking to our customers. You're always building it, you're always changing it. And that's success, I think. You always have to be adapting and changing things. And with COVID-19, to be fair, it's tough. It's going to be tough. And I think the next year is going to be a tough ride for a lot of restaurants, unfortunately.
Right.
I'm hearing a lot of restaurants are closing.
We're hearing the same thing, yeah.
I mean, and with that, there's layoffs, and even for entertainers, it's tough to get a gig because a lot of restaurants can't afford it now. It's even tough to even stay open.
Really, capacity is killing us. But
Right.
hopefully it'll come back.
Yeah.
Well, I'm really glad you guys made it in. Can you tell us where people can find you online? Is there a website?
Yeah, so it's theporthouse.ca.
Okay, and we'll put a link up on the screen.
Yeah, and then I'll send you our the Facebook and Instagram account.
Okay, that would be great. Folks, that's Brian and Josh from the Port House, and they are located right at the foot of Highway 10 and Lakeshore. It's a great vibe there. We have exciting new ideas coming into town, and we will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a ridiculously talented, interesting, and cool guest for you right now. David Bowie. David Bowie said he was an absolute delight to work with, a lyrical, lilting take on Hendrix.
Wow. You just said that.
Wow.
That was pretty good.
Ladies and gentlemen, Tony Springer. You may know him as Wild T. Welcome to the show, Tony. Good to see you again, man. It's been too long.
Thanks for having me.
Tell us how you've been.
Life's been good, man. I've been a recluse most of my life anyway. So this COVID thing, it's kind of I've rehearsed for this.
Right.
I stay home a lot. I love spending time with my music and at home, and not getting jittery and stuff like that.
Right.
So that's been cool. And then I've always been writing, man. I remember growing up in Trinidad when I was just getting, Rickford would know you spending time shredding.
Yeah.
I would do this for like 8 hours. And I remember a couple of times going, hey, it's my birthday, man. I gotta get out. Oh, it's Christmas, man. After 8 hours. So I'm used to, I don't get jittery and stressed out over nothing.
And how has the creative process been? Some people are finding it sort of a dark creative time.
It's been great.
Wow.
Because the other thing with gigging all constantly is, like we all love live music, playing live and stuff, and people getting off, and you feel the feedback of the people. But it always took a little bite out of my creativity. I would always write songs. I got to write songs for new albums all the time. But it took a bite out because you got a gig on the weekend. I got to do my hair. I got to concentrate on a set list. I'm always changing stuff up. So when the guys think it's like, I go, no, okay, this song, I got a new arrangement. And it's always little things that got in the way that I never realized until the COVID thing. I went, I'm free. I'm doing it. I'm just music. Sometimes I'm even so free to go, Judge Judy today. No music, man. That's what Judge Judy, man. And so it's really, it's cool. It's been really, really cool. And as I say, when you do that, I go to bed thinking of music when I want to. Thinking,
wow.
Okay, this song. So it's really good to put it in a place, come back and revisit, and have it there constantly.
What an unbelievably positive experience.
Yeah,
you get to be creative without having sort of a border around your creative time. All the time is your creative time.
Exactly.
Very interesting. Now, for people who maybe haven't heard before, tell us a little bit how Toronto guitar player, you were working, you were writing, you were making it happen, and then suddenly like the phone rings and it's It's David Bowie. We want you to come and play in our album. How does that happen?
You know, I tell you something, man. That is a whole cosmic thing that happened when I got that call. I was rehearsing with my band up at Anyard Studio at 12 in midday, and we had a show the next day. So I'm rehearsing with the band, and I was really sick. I'm coughing, but I'm a trooper, man. Let's go, man. Yeah, love crazy. Oh, coughing and stuff. So I told the band, guys, we have a rehearsal at 6 o'clock. I can't do this. We gotta cut it off. So stop the rehearsal, and I'm driving home coughing, and 2 words came to my mind: strange, modern. And I'm always in songwriting mode, right? So I'm going, strange, modern, man. I can write a song about this, you know. And I'm coughing and driving home, and then I started thinking, this sounds like something David Bowie would sing. A title of David Bowie's song, strange, modern, or something. Right. In that, it wasn't me. It ain't like, she left me this morning with the cows on the farm. It ain't that kind of thing. It's something like this. I'm saying David Bowie would write a song called Strange Modern. So I went home thinking of this. I go to bed for like a couple of hours because I had a rehearsal at 6 o'clock. And I got up at 4. So I put the TV on and Much Music. David Bowie's on the tube. And I'm going, hey, man, I'm in tune, man. I'm aligned with the stars. And so then I'm leaving to go to the rehearsal now, and still thinking Strange Modern. And then I'm late now. My phone rings as soon as I got out of my apartment. And I went, man, whoever that is, I gotta go. I gotta go. And then I'm walking down the hallway. Then I'm hearing the phone ringing. This is when, before you had answering machines, they would ring for like 10, 15 times before it kicks in. So I thought, you know, you're late already. Go answer the phone. I go answer the phone, my manager is going, David Bowie wants to meet you. I went, holy shit, all in one day. So I went, yeah, I know, man, yeah. No, I didn't say that.
Of course he does.
Yeah, of course he wants to meet me. Yeah. So that was the thing, and he was doing a show in a couple of days. He was doing Tin Machine. Right. And they were playing at that place in Young and Davenport there.
The concert hall?
Music concert hall. Yeah. They were playing there, and he said he was in Montreal the day before, and he saw, while they were rehearsing, he saw my video for Midnight Blues. And he stopped the band. This is what I heard from the guys he stopped the band and went, what the hell is that? And some guy who knew me from way back in the day go, yeah, that's just Tony Springer, man. He goes, okay. So he ended up sending somebody to get my CD that day. And invited us to show at the concert hall, and 2 tickets for the show and to come backstage and meet him. So I went and did all that. I was in heaven, man. I remember going, I told him the Strange Modern story and stuff, and I've always loved Bowie, but I wasn't like a big disciple. Right. Mm-hmm. You know, I go, yeah, it's good. And I was lying. Man, I've loved you ever since I was out of the womb, man. And he's going, I don't want to talk about me. He was really generous. He wants to talk about me. Right. And then he gave me his card, his management card, and told me keep in touch. And here's what happened. We had the same management company, Robin Arnold. Yep. Right? Yeah. I give it to Robin Arnold. Rob and Eric. Rob and Eric, yeah. They were my managers at the time. I give the card to them. I go, David Bowie said to keep in touch. So we were working on our second CD that was supposed to be out in 2 months. And I give it to them. And then the next day I called them. I go, hey guys, let's send them a little fax at the time. Right. Nice to meet you. And here's their advice to me. T, these people are busy. Don't harass them. We send him a copy of the CD in 4 months. When I go, no, we're going to do that too. But we're going to send him a thing right now saying, nice to meet you and thanks for the blah, blah. And they were totally adamant against that. They were telling me, don't do it. This is not a good career move. I'm not a big confrontational guy, but I want to do it. I'm saying, I got to do it. I want my card back now. Right. So I coolly told him, okay, I'm coming up to the office. We're going to have a little talk about this. And I get up to the office. I know the office well. They had a big desk with cards and stuff, and this was a fresh card. So we're talking, and I go, guys, I really think we should just keep in touch, keep it fresh. And I'm looking at it, and I saw the card. So So I kind of ease over to that side, and while they're talking, I went, okay. And I just grabbed the card. They didn't put up a fight. I grabbed the card and went, okay, see ya. I came home, and I have a buddy of mine, he's from Denmark. I swear this guy's a genius. But he's got a lisp, and people don't understand him, and he doesn't shut up. And he's always, but he knows so much stuff, man. You know, I met him in a party, and he's sitting on I remember sitting on a bed, him and this young girl, and he's going, blah, 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 and she's going, do you ever shut up? And while she's saying that, he's talking louder. He's one of them people. So I started listening in, and for some strange reason, I could understand this cat, man. And I'm going, this guy is like, everything he's saying makes sense. So I called him over the next day when I got the card. I went, Nils, come on over to my place. I want to, and we used to talk about stuff. I mean, we talked for like 6-8 hours of stuff, man. And one of the things we talked about was loaded words. You know, one word can mean so much.
Sure.
And you don't have to go, you know. Coming from a guy who goes, right? But so I went, I want to write David Bowie a little letter. So he comes over to my place at 10 in the morning, and he's going, I have pencil and paper, and he's going, okay, all right. That's good. While I'm writing, he's still going, he's going talking. And we got 5 lines of really loaded. I remember the first thing was, I've come to realize in my life, if you want to get things done, you have to do them yourselves. Dear David, that's how it started, you know? So, and he's going on, and I go, okay, I got what I need, and he's still going, I had to cut him off, right? I mean, that's it. So I sent this letter to David Bowie, give him my phone number and stuff, of course, and a week later, I got up musician time, 2 in the afternoon, and there's a freaking message on my phone from David Bowie. Going, this is one of the best letters anybody's ever written me. I'm calling him back in 4 hours. So this is like 2 in the afternoon. I put the phone down. I'm sitting by the phone now. He's calling back at 6. I'm sitting there guarding the phone.
Not going to miss it.
Yeah, anytime it rings, I go, hello. And it's my crazy musician, but I go, I can't talk to you now, man. 4 hours on the dot, he calls me. And he was so thrilled with this letter. And you got to take, I didn't want to go into a big spiel. I went, yes, man, it came from my heart. You know, I really meant it because I orchestrated the whole thing anyway.
Right.
It's not that I was lying. And he called me and he asked me he says, I want to go do a record. I'd like you to play on the record. And he gave me the date, and I was kind of, I don't know what I was thinking. I was in heaven, and I'm going, man, that sounds so good, but I'm going on tour right at that time. And as soon as I said, I'm going, what the hell are you doing? Shut up, man. And before I can do that, he goes, okay, I'm going to work around your schedule.
Well,
So I'm going, can you do that, man? He goes, hey, I'm David Bowie. I could do anything. So we, after my tour, I was in Calgary. We flew to Toronto, and then we flew to New York City. The some studio there, and we went and played on his record. It was amazing.
that is so
Now here's
heavy.
the other kicker. Wildty was just fresh out, so I'm wild. I wasn't mild. Every time I went to play, it wasn't no mild.
I seen your show.
Turn the M upside down, man. Come
Full
on.
on. Full on.
I take my fucking play mic stand
Yeah.
and stuff. So at the end of the tour, my guitars were always out of whack. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Intonation. So I'm in the studio with David Bowie walking, and I hear this beautiful. I said, what's his name? Mick Ronson.
Right.
Played rhythm on this song that I played, and I looked through the glass, and he's playing this beautiful semi-acoustic, semi-solid white Gibson with gold inlays, sounding like angels. And I go, David, can I use his guitar? I go, mine's really, it's sick. And he goes, no, we got it for you. Just come on. And he shrugged me off with that instantly. So I'm in the playing area now. And what's his name? The producer there, Nile Rodgers.
Right.
Nile Rodgers was there. He was producing. And so I'm in the playing area. And for the other thing, I asked David when he asked me to play on this song. I went, send me a copy of the record, man, of the song. And I'd figure it out. And he didn't say blatantly no. He was just kind of beating around that he wouldn't do it. He's not sending me the record. So I went in cold to the studio and,
Oh, wow.
and I'm in the playing area. I went, okay, just loop it for me for 10, 15 minutes. Let me get used to the chords and then we'd go. So I'm in the playing area and they're in the booth and I'm kind of, this is another thing I practice for myself. I mean, instead of looking, I just kind of close my eyes and go wherever. Wherever you land, make music out of it.
Yeah.
So I was really used to, so now I'm playing with David Bowie and I'm using these techniques and I'm kind of almost falling off the cliff and learning to fly. I'm just doing that for 15 minutes and stuff, and then I go, okay guys, I'm ready to do a take now. Let's go. And they go, come in the booth for a little while, have some coffee. I go in the booth, they were taping me all the time.
Yeah, they got it.
And David goes, we got everything we need. Now I'm feeling kind of low now. I'm going, he's putting me down easy.
Right.
I'm feeling low. And then I started listening back to the take and going, hey man, yeah. It was good. So they taped me, and it was amazing.
And it was the old technology too. It was tape, probably, right?
Exactly.
So they didn't cut and splice anything. You just did a plethora of tapes.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
It's hard to be under the gun, and they go and be great.
Yeah.
That's hard to do, man.
Yeah.
That is so awesome. Now, for people who are watching at home who maybe have never had the Wild Tea experience, will you play us a tune, Tony?
Sure, man. Sure.
The acoustic Wild Tea.
Acoustic tea.
This is Turn the W Upside Down.
Yes.
Mild tea, baby.
Mild tea.
But not too mild, because I wrote this song actually within the COVID thing. And you know the other thing I found with the COVID thing, which is to each his own. I'm a happy, stressless guy. But I find everybody is playing this.
Yes, there's a lot of that.
COVID. So I wrote a song about actually 3 weeks ago. And I thought, let's give it a shot.
All right, let's hear it.
It's called Dirty Blues. Doidy Blues.
I like it.
Doidy Blues. I got them down, down right, low down dirty blue. I got them down right, low down dirty blues. Well, my baby don't love me like she used to do. I woke up this morning, found my baby gone. I woke up this morning, found my baby gone. Now them low down dirty blues just won't leave me alone. I talked to my doctor and my mama too. I talked to my doctor and my mama too. They say there ain't no cure for them low down dirty blues. I gotta sing to you.
I got them downright low down dirty blues. I got them downright low down dirty blues. It ain't too cool, man. Oh, well, my baby don't love me like she used to do. Oh, my baby don't love me like she used to do. I said there ain't no cure for them low down, down home, downright. Good golly, Miss Molly, somebody help me. Them dirty, them low down dirty blues.
Absolutely amazing. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Wild T, Tony Springer, and we will be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. If you recall last week, we had Sammy on the show, and she was talking about a day of awareness, to raise awareness for people who work in the entertainment business behind the scenes. Those are the people who do the rigging, who do the follow spots, the roadies, the guys that wind the cables. And Port Credit stepped up and lit the lighthouse red. And that is the code for we remember you, we support you, we're aware of you. So thanks to Port Credit for stepping up and being involved in the Day of Awareness for all of the people who work behind the scenes. Welcome back, my friends. Wasn't that a riot with Wild T?
Wild.
Amazing entertainer, amazing guitar player, and what a story about Bowie. Wow.
Great story.
As you may know, if you live in the neighborhood here, that there is a massive new project happening in Lakeview, sort of just past Cawthra, between Cawthra and Dixie on the south side of Lakeshore. And it is called Lakeview Village. And we are very fortunate today to have the president of that community, of the building company, I suppose. What is your title?
I'm president of Argo Development Corporation and Lakeview Community Partners.
There you go. And this man is Fabio Mazzocco. I hope I got that right.
Got it right. Pleasure to be here with you.
And we have so many questions. First of all, welcome. Thank you for coming. And people often, when there's a big development happening in a community, the first thing that jumps out at them is there's going to be thousands of people there. It's already busy. How are we going to get around? What is sort of the plan when you introduce that many people into community to get them around?
Great question. It's many plans and many layers of transportation, and probably the most important would be, bringing a rebirth to Lakeshore Road. In the 50s, Lakeshore Road had a car on it, and there was mass transportation on Lakeshore Road. Today, it's a sea of asphalt, right? There's so much room, and it's all being used for cars.
Right.
Right? And people are speeding, and it's not moving people, it's moving cars.
Gotcha.
So the city is all over it. Jeff Wright at the city, the group, Transportation Works, they've been they've been doing EA to start, it's called Lakeshore Connecting Communities.
Okay.
It's about how they connect the Lakeshore from Toronto and Long Branch to Lakeview, Port Credit, Clarkson, and so on, right across the Mississauga boundary. And now that's coming to life. So stages 1 and 2 of that have been completed. Now the city is bringing that forward. They're hiring the engineers to actually design the right-of-way of Lakeshore and change it from car-killing right-of-way that it is today to people-friendly bikes and cyclists. Like the Waterfront Trail is an amazing place, an amazing attribute to have, not only in Mississauga, because it's the Great Canadian Trail. It can take us to Niagara Falls, take it downtown Toronto. It's such a beautiful trail that's got so much bike traffic on it. And the second you get off of that trail, you take your life in your hands.
Right.
Today, right? You know it. You've
Yes.
seen it
Yeah.
all, right?
Yes.
Take on Hydro Road, you got to duck, and then someone's ducking on a bike, but a car's coming, they don't know, is that person turning left and going south, or are they swinging around
Right.
in front of my car? Like, it's bad. It's not good today, right? But it's good news. It's all changing. All the design is coming where there'll be bike lanes, there'll be a BRT, like a central bus corridor for rapid bus transit from the Long Branch Etobicoke boundary, Toronto boundary, to Lakeview Village, basically to East Avenue, I believe, is
Right.
the limit. And then from there, it's a rapid transit corridor for transit all the way through to Port Credit and Clarkson, and even connecting us better to Oakville. So it's a massive plan, but it needs to come to life. And perhaps the first stages of it should come from the east, and we can pull all that infrastructure right into
Right.
Port Credit. Port Credit's delicate because there's restaurants sharing the patios there, and
Right.
it's a tight spot, and I think things have to change there and open up a little bit. But let's just start, because it's a real rough stretch of road, especially if you're a pedestrian or you're walking on Dixie. You want to go to the Small Arms building, try and crossing Dixie, and these cars is like, holy wow, it's pretty scary. But all that's changing, right?
Well, I'm glad
Yeah.
that public transit is part of the vision. Now, I did a gig out there in this sea of sunflowers. You guys planted, thousands, a million.
We're 2 million sunflowers in now. It's
2 million.
It's been 2 years going. Last year was the inaugural year of sunflowers. We purchased the property in March of 2018 after a year of working with. When OPG went to sale, they hired a real estate agent that brought it through a public process, and that took a long time to, go through. And we were finally selected as a preferred partner, September 2017. And Jim Tovey was still with us at the time.
Right.
And I guess we wouldn't be here today if it wasn't for him, because every time I saw him, in 2016, 2015, 2014, 2012, whatever, it was all, you have to see what's going to happen in Lakeview. These lands are going to change. It's going to be so cool. We're going to have music playing.
Well, this is something that really struck me, is when I played the gig, artists had been hired to do all kinds of creative stuff, and I thought that was a beautiful thing to incorporate artists early in the project. But then I heard an announcement that there's actually going to be dedicated housing for artists. Talk a little bit about some affordable housing and how the arts are being integrated into this community.
So the arts have been embedded into the community even from its planning structure. The official plan amendment says this should be a hub of culture and arts at the piers, at the hub of the piers, because the site has the longest pier in Canada on Lake Ontario.
Oh.
And that's also going to be at the convergence of the 64-acre future Jim Tovey Lakeview Conservation Area. So when all those places converge, it needs the arts to bring people there, to bring the excitement. So we've been fortunate enough to partner with a group called Artscape. They're pros at bringing arts into development. We don't do art, they do, so they know what they're doing, and they have a great thing going down on the harbourfront in Toronto. You should check it out. They'll be happy to give you guys a tour. They have a place there where artists can bridge the gap from being in school to making things. And if you need to use their facilities, you can be a jewelry maker, a visual artist. They even have a studio, Eggs House. The Weekend, I think, is behind that initiative.
Wow,
Really
very cool.
Super cool.
And
so they want to have an atelier at Lakeview where you actually make art. Artists live there. They have a role of making the art, which makes the community.
so it's art studios built right into the development.
There's a lot of art to be made in the Lakeview community, but that's not going to sustain a maker space down there for generations. What could sustain it is a partnership with the city of Mississauga, with Artscape. And all of Mississauga's art could be created down there. Wow, we have music festivals, and you're playing the first gig on the barge. You have reserved that now.
Well, I saw they have a
Right.
sort of the vision, I guess, and it's painted on a large billboard. And I noticed that there was a barge in the lake,
Yes.
performing to sort of like an amphitheater style area. And I said, I'd like that gig.
I'm doing that gig.
Can we book it?
Can you open for
And I
Sam
got
Roberts?
a commitment that there it is. Now,
Nice.
which brings me to the next question. What's sort of the timeline between maybe when the first person moves in and when the last unit is filled up?
It's a multi-year community. We hope to bring the waterfront first phase and to open that to the public So by 2025, the Jim Tovey Lakeview Conservation Area is going to be open. We want all that waterfront to be open, including the former power plant's waterfront. That brings 2.5 kilometers of new water, or 3.5 of
Which
new
nobody
waterfront
could
trail
use
on the water.
before.
Right, it diverts around the power plant now. So 2025, that'll be open. Hopefully by the end of 2021, the project will be open for sale, and units will begin construction probably 2022, and people may be living there in 2024, 2025 at the earliest, right? So when the waterfront is open, the first residents are there, the conservation area is open at the same time, and it's a great convergence of all these things happening. There's a huge park system that we need to construct within the Lakeview lands
I've seen the
itself.
plans.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Massive
parks to be
park.
built,
Massive
but
trail.
if we start and we're working with the city and there's a public process to dictate what will be in those parks, and then public is always, input is desired. And I think we're going to build something really special there if everybody, collaborates like it's been going so far.
Well,
the
it
team
certainly
we
is-
have is amazing. Yeah.
It certainly is exciting. Now, I used to live on Cherrybelle, which is at Dixie and Lakeshore. And, the big towers were there, and it did not seem like the healthiest environment. What kind of land reclamation had to be done to make this a place where people can, be comfortable letting their kids play in the dirt?
Great question, Tom. So the site itself, because it was a power plant, obviously there was a lot of things going on. But OPG, they were engineers, they were great stewards of the land. They made a slab over everything, and they lowered it down so you couldn't see what they were doing there. But the slab protected the lands from spills. There would be spills, they'd clean it up, they'd be documented. The one thing was there was a large area where there was a huge coal pile, where the largest part where we planted the most of the 1 billion sunflowers where the coal pile was. It was just exposed to the environment for years and years and years. So before OPG had sold the land, they had done some remediation to that pile. They brought it down to the standards of the day. We need to just, bring it to the standards of today. So there's just a little bit more remediation we need to do. It's very minor, actually. We were quite happy, but it's more of a recycling effort there, that we were left with a slab of concrete, and below it was all this infrastructure of concrete. So, 250,000 tons of that concrete went to the Jim Tovey Conservation Area, to the Credit Valley, the TRCA, and the Region of Peel, who were building that project. And it made the outer rings to protect the energy of Lake Ontario.
There you go.
And then from within, they take money for people with fill to fill in the inner part, because they can use loose fill. But they really needed this concrete. So there was a marriage of us
So you guys
purchasing
broke
land.
up the concrete and then put it out in the lake?
And not just broke
New
it, they
area.
broke it and they break it, and they have magnets that come. Our partners TAC and their machines, and Priestley Demolition was their sub. They put the magnets on, they take the rebars out, the rebar gets put in a pile. You guys should see it, like it's the last word, 95% complete, 5 more to go, and we'd love you to see the site
love to see
inside
it.
and get on the pier.
I used to live on Long
yeah.
Branch at the end of Long Branch there, and I could see it across the water. I would love to see what's going on
Yeah,
over there.
when people get on the pier, it changes their
Because it was just
their whole perspective
It was just
changes.
lost
Yeah.
waterfront.
Yeah.
Where it was made for you not to see it, we have to change that, right? So the sunflowers is a good start. Partnering with Artscape, we're building a discovery center on Hydro Road in Lakeshore, where there'll be a beautiful, sustainable building being built with some very cool materials. And to protect that from the waterfront trail, we put some construction hoarding up. But with Artscape, the idea is, well, let's make that a canvas. So we have 1,600 linear feet of art in COVID, where we put $100,000 out for artists. 19 different artists participated. There's even a sculpture. They just lit it last night. And it calls people to see the sunflowers. And when you get there in the sculpture, you see the hill, and then you see Lake Ontario. You see everything that Jim Tovey saw.
The public can access this, right? Or does it have to be during certain hours?
No, it's totally accessible. Last year when we did the sunflowers, everybody walked through those fields, so we knew it was unavoidable. And there's a lot of room. It's safe. People are cautious and courteous. Keep their social distancing signs, and the amount of people that come, and different families of different cultures in Mississauga. There's an indigenous land acknowledgement by Lynn Taylor, a beautiful local indigenous artist. There's Duke Redbird had done a poem called "A Dish with One Spoon" that you can translate from Ojibwe to English and other languages. And then there's a great mural that tells a great story, and you can just go with your phone and learn about all the artists.
Right.
So that's just the start of what should be.
Well, it's just so refreshing to see a development that is so art-centric, instead of how can we squeeze another 1,000 people into
Correct.
the tiniest space possible, and make these, shoebox condos, which, in my opinion, when you drive down the QEW and you see these lines of massive condos, it's just cutting the city off from the lake. It's almost as if they're like, you can't pass here. If you don't live in this condo, you don't get to the lake. Just so to see those open avenues, I think it's fantastic.
The curation of the master plan of Lakeview Village was done by Sasaki. We had a worldwide competition. We had the master plan to a good point, did a lot of community engagement, and people weren't really loving it just yet. So when Sasaki came in after the competition we did, they took it to a spot that's really engaging. It brings the public to the water, it calls you, and the massing of the buildings is very friendly. It's everything stepped really far back. There's one tower that should call you from afar. It's pretty far back. And Jim Tovey said when he first saw the plans, he goes, how quick can we build this? But what kind of insulation are you going to use, right? And what kind of architect are you going to choose, right? So there's a huge process of architecture that's still going to unfold. At least we have the bones of a great master plan and a master plan architect that's going to say, hey, that looks like crap. Like, change that. Like, where's the life in that building? So we'll see if we get there. But
for people at home that, sorry for interrupting, Rick, for people at home that want to follow along, they want information about, what's for sale, when it's for sale, can I afford it, all that stuff. Is there a website, is there a social media presence where people can follow along and see what's happening?
Yes, indeed, absolutely. Visit us at mylakeviewvillage.com.
mylakeviewvillage.com, unless you put up a link for that. Thank you.
We're on Instagram at mylakeviewvillage, Twitter as well, LinkedIn, I think most of the platforms, YouTube. We have some great visualizations. Last night there was a public development committee meeting where our project was the focus, and there was a beautiful video presented, a lot of great input from the community. So we're happy to share and happy to learn more, but we'd love to have you down at the site to see.
Well, we'd love to see it, and we'd like to have you back when things have moved forward, and we can discuss some more details.
And the Friday night music series still continues. I think we're 2 weeks in. It had to move to Stonehooker because of COVID restrictions.
We love Stonehooker, friend of the show.
So they're still playing there, and there's 4 more weeks to go. So.
And I think it's Susie McNeil and Andrew McTaggart this Friday.
This Friday,
if I'm not mistaken.
Correct.
Well, Fabio, thanks so much for coming in.
It's been a pleasure.
Thanks for putting the arts first in a development, which is something I've never heard of before. And we look forward to having you back soon.
It's an honor. Thanks, guys.
Thank you very much. And we'll be right back. Ladies and gentlemen, a very special riffing with Rickford and Tony. Here we are introducing the legendary culinary skills of Carson Freeman.
You know who's gonna cook on our show? Carson. He's gonna make something sexy and mexy. Carson. Cooking with Carson.
Wow, what a fantastic introduction. These keep getting better every week. Thank you, Rick and Tony Springer. Amazing. Today, Cooking with Carson, and I'm Carson Freeman. Thank you for tuning in. We are going to be talking a little bit about traveling and some of the eats we've had as we've traveled around the world. A lot of foodies love traveling, and there's nothing better than experiencing a culture and the signature dish of a country within that country. For example, I've had the privilege of having Peking duck in Beijing, pad thai in Thailand. And I don't know about you, maybe you've had jerk chicken in Jamaica or fried chicken in Kentucky. But this is, we are on Facebook Live, so if you want to, in the comments, you can talk about one of the dishes or something that you had in a country that really stood out to you and kind of made your trip memorable. So go ahead and do that. Today we're talking about Mexico. 16 years ago, I went to Mexico and I actually saw this woman, and she had a stump for a table, and she was making homemade tortillas, and I said, I gotta have those tacos. And they were still, I would say, probably the best tacos I've ever had. And what I loved about it was the simplicity involved, the minimal ingredients, but especially the corn tortillas. And that's what we're gonna be making today. They're simple, they're easy, they only need 3 ingredients. If it was any less ingredients, it wouldn't even be a recipe, but I'm gonna show you how you can do that at home. So let's get started. I have my mixing bowl, and into it, I'm gonna put some corn flour. This is called Mesa. It's instant corn flour. It's naturally gluten-free, and it's an ingredient they use all over the world when you're having corn tortillas. Most of you have had, growing up, you might have had those corn shells. They were kind of in the shape of a saddle and very crunchy. And then you started to, at restaurants, have soft shell tortillas that were often made of flour, but very seldom is it made of corn. And this would be a lot more authentic Mexican, okay? What I do is, to that, I'm gonna add some salt. That's the only flavoring we need right now, because a lot of ingredients can go into your taco. And I'm just gonna add a little bit of warm, at least room temperature water. And I'm gonna stir this together until the dough just starts to clump a bit. And the more you do this, the more you're gonna get the texture that you want. Some people like it a little bit more on the dry side, and some people like it a little bit more moist. I think to get it authentic, you really need a little bit more on the drier side. I can see that this is gonna be really good. This is just kind of starting to come together. Some of you might have made pie crust and it looks like that as you're building that together. And right when I have enough liquid in there to make it stick, but not really stick to my hands, I can get my clean hands in there and start to form a dough ball. And you're gonna know that this is right when it starts to all gather, just kind of like you're making Play-Doh. And form a nice ball. Perfect little ball of dough that we have right here, okay? And what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put that aside with a towel over it, just to let it rest for a little bit before I start using my tortilla press. And right here, I have a ball of dough that I made earlier. And my kids might play with this as Play-Doh, but this is edible and we're gonna eat it today after we cook it, of course. I'm gonna show you how to press this into little tortillas. Traditionally, the tortillas used in tacos or tostados are gonna be about like the size of a small dish, okay? A taco is not a wrap like you have a burrito or that. They're actually just supposed to be folded and eaten like this. Like a lot of Mexican food, it's a little bit messy, okay? So what I do is I take off a piece and I'm gonna just form a smaller ball. And here, on top of my tortilla press, I have a plastic bag, like a freezer bag, and I've cut the top off where there'd normally be like a Ziploc part. I've kept the seam, and this just helps it from not sticking to the surface. And I'm just gonna put it a little bit off center. I'll even push it down a little bit. And what you do is you just fold this over, add some pressure. Now I know a lot of you are saying, hey, well, what do? I don't have a tortilla press. Any 2 flat objects, 2 good coffee table books, remember you have the plastic there so they're not gonna get on them. You can just use that to press it over top, and I've actually done that. Some people have actually sat on the books, pushed it down like this, and what you'll have here is a nice corn tortilla, right, like that, okay? I'm gonna peel it off, and I'm gonna put it into my already heated frying pan. This is gonna be at medium-high heat. This is gonna take about 2 minutes per side. In the meantime, I'm gonna show you how quickly you could put a taco together. Now, I have some taco shells that I've made previously. They're just over here. And what we're gonna do is when we take our hot tortilla that we've made, we're gonna put it into this basket with a dish towel. That's all I have lining this. And what's gonna happen is they might be a little bit more stiff than the flour tortillas that we're used to, but the steam within this is gonna soften them up and make them a lot more pliable. As we eat them, they're not gonna be breaking and falling apart, okay? So I have one in here. The sky's the limit with what you can put on your taco. I'm gonna start with some pinto beans. These are often used as refried beans. I'm gonna mash them down a little bit so they're not rolling out of the way. Some avocado, and I'm gonna do the same. Let's do a deconstructed guacamole. I'll put some cilantro on there. and a little squirt of lime. Like I said, sky is the limit. Some roasted chicken. Okay. And just, we need some crunch. I'm going to put a little bit of radish in there. Okay. And like I said, you can put almost anything on them. Tacos traditionally eaten just being folded. You can see how soft these are. Just take a bite. Absolutely fantastic. Yummy. I made a couple others as I talk with my mouth full. And these ones here, I made a vegetarian one, just using some black beans, some crema, some cilantro and tomato, and here's some with some steak. Try these at home. Make your own tortillas. You won't be disappointed. Back to you, Tom and Rick.
Hey guys, this is Victoria Ye here. I'm here with David Hines, and we're promoting our new virtual concert series. It's called Travel by Sound. It'll be running for 6 months. 6 months, 6 bands, 20 musicians, September until February. VictoriaYeLive.com. This is one of my original tunes, Odin, from my album Spirit Awakens.